This is your Utica Comets pregame show with Eyewitness News Sports Director David Edelstein. Utica Comets face-off.
The Utica Comets have more game days than days off for the rest of this season. 13 games over the next 24 days for Utica now, including tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Comets Face-Off. I'm David Edelstein. The Binghamton Devils are in town, and it's a breath of fresh air for Utica. One of 3 times this year that the game is against someone other than the Rochester Americans or the Syracuse Crunch. Comets played the Syracuse Crunch in their last game on Monday. The 2 wins Utica has since returning from COVID-19 protocols have both come at the expense of the Crunch. There was no score at the first intermission, but the Comets gave up 3 goals in period 2. And here at the start of period 3, Jonah Gadjevic, take a look at this again. Look at his height, basically a basketball move to bring that puck down and then put it in the 5-hole. Unassisted, he leads the team in goals, makes it 3-1. The Crunch are ahead. Then 5-1 Crunch toward the end, but the highlight was Sean Cameron with a shot, scoring his first AHL goal. That's all Utica would get, though, as the Comets fall 6-2. So Utica is now 2-4 since returning from COVID-19 protocols, showing the standings by point percentage because of the difference in the number of games played. Though, like we said, Utica is now catching up quickly with a busy stretch ahead. 3 games this week, 3 games next week, 5 the week after that, and then 3 more to end the season. The Devils have struggled on the ice this year. The Devils and Comets now both 8-2, or rather 2-8 over their last 10 games. And let's look at team comparisons. The Comets have a points percentage over 500. The Devils are one of just 2 teams in the North Division that are below 500. And again, the teams have only faced off once, but the teams look different now after players have been called up to the NHL taxi squad and NHL teams, etc. Binghamton's power play is in the bottom 10 of the league, while Utica's is in the top 10. Binghamton's penalty kill is in the bottom half of the league, but middle of the road in the North Division by percentage, and just slightly better than the Comets' PK. Here are the names that have made it all happen for Utica. Honestly, not much has changed recently. Jonah Gadjevic still continues to lead in goals. His 12 are 3 times as many as John Stevens, who's actually second on the team with 4, and this obviously helps Gadjevic lead the team in points as well. Last year's league leader in assists, Sam Annis, continues to do what he does, leading Utica with 13 assists, and those make up all of his points. Still hasn't scored a goal of his own. He contributes the most to scoring when he plays, though, the only Comets player averaging more than 1 point per game. Gadjevic leads in putting the puck on net, creating opportunities for himself and rebounds for others. He actually had 6 shots alone on Monday. And then for the Devils, it's Danik Martel, who leads in points with 14, also goals with 6. And then he shares the lead in assists with Riley Walsh, the rookie, with 8. Martel leads the Devils in points per game with a goal or an assist, a little more than every other game this year. And it makes sense because Martel also leads in putting the puck on net to create his opportunity. So we're looking forward to seeing those names in action tonight. The Devils back now here in Utica for the first time. After the break, we're going to interview the interviewer. Utica Comets broadcaster Jason Shia was generous enough to spend some time with us on the other side of the microphone tonight. We'll hear his thoughts about how the Comets have handled this year so far after the break.
We're watching the Utica Comets face-off.
3 of the 31 American Hockey League teams decided not to play this year. We already know one is the Springfield Thunderbirds. The St. Louis Blues prospects who would have played there have joined the Utica Comets this year. But the Charlotte Checkers are one of the other teams that opted out. And while the Comets didn't get any of their players, the Comets did get their broadcaster. You've heard him call Comets games right here on WPNY this season. Here's how Jason Shia says the Comets have been handling all the obstacles they've faced this season. Jason Shia, broadcaster of the Utica Comets this year. You're in Utica. I got to ask you, we've been here for kind of short season, but how has it felt just to be in the area? How are you enjoying it so far?
Well, what's amazing is that the fan base, even though they're not in full in the arena, you still feel it when you're talking to people in the community about the team. People are engaged. I'm at Walmart going grocery shopping, and people see my logo on my jacket, and they start talking to you about the team and the intricacies of what's going on. So that took me back, and it made me realize that you're in a serious hockey market and a really good hockey community, and it can do only energize you. That's all it does. When I get to the building, I'm even more energized to bring the fans the game from the perspective that they know they want to be here, But myself and Gary Heenan in the home games on WPNY, we bring a lot of energy. We try to bring the emotion of the game out to the fans.
So you were calling games. I know you called wrestling at one point.
Yeah.
You started going through. So you get into hockey finally, and
Yeah.
since 2007, you were the broadcaster for the Charlotte Checkers of
Right.
the American Hockey League, minor league team for the Carolina Hurricanes. And so without a Calder Cup last year, because the season got cut off, and none this year, you're still a defending champion here. Did you get a ring? Like what
we got rings and everything. The experience was unbelievable. I can't explain it to people. That year was the best year of not only my professional life, but of my life. Everything that could have gone right went right. We got every bounce, everything worked. And the other thing too is the team. It wasn't players and the management. We were one big family.
Now, you've called many games in the American Hockey League. You've more than 1,000 at this point
Yeah.
over the years. You called a Utica Comets game in 2014. So when you
did.
started this year as the first year of being the Comets broadcaster, it was actually your second Utica Comets broadcast in this building. So, I mean, so many games. You've called games in the NHL also because you've gotten your own call-up a few times.
Yeah.
As you've been watching the Comets, what's been something that stood out to you? What have you noticed about the Comets and how they've just handled all the obstacles thrown at them this season?
Well, there have been a lot of obstacles, and I got to say, Trent Cole has impressed me. Ryan Johnson has really impressed me. Their organizational skills, the ability to maneuver all these people and get them to move in the same direction. This is not easy stuff. It really isn't when you have so many moving parts on top of all the protocol that goes on top of it. So on that respect of it, I have been very, very impressed by the communication and by the execution of the plans by those men. And the same thing could be said about the Comets in their front office, Robert Esch and everybody else. They're moving in simpatico with one another, and it's very, very, it's good for everyone.
Head coach Trent Cole did say recently, though, that there's no script. And to hear something like that from him, this is a guy who likes to know what he's doing. He has a plan, and it's paid off with success with this team. But to hear that there's no script, that must be an interesting challenge as a broadcaster for the team to know what's coming next, to be able to predict, to be able to put that context of where that future aspect of it. So from your perspective, having watched the Charlotte Checkers and a championship team most recently, what do you notice about how the team is handling this as professionals in professional ice hockey?
Well, I think the players have handled it incredibly well, first and foremost. They have not been deterred by the obstacles that are in front of them, things they can't do anything about. They're putting their heads down and going to work. Trent's doing the same thing. You walk into the building, you go, all right, what does today bring? We don't know. Like, whatever's in front of us, we're going to tackle. And I've been just thoroughly impressed by everyone's disposition.
This is a team this year that the Vancouver Canucks own, and they have their prospects on the team, and they've partnered with the St. Louis Blues to be able to give them an opportunity because, like the Charlotte Checkers, the Springfield Thunderbirds decided that they were not going to operate this season. And we heard the players and head coach Cole talk often about the leadership, the team bonding. Then you have this month off in the middle because of 10 postponed games where players are going through a really serious coronavirus that they dealt with to come back. What have you seen about the leadership of this team, though, before and after, about how they've gelled as two organizations, as players, and as the Utica Comets?
You can't win anything in this league without leadership. You can't. It's not just a word. It's not just something you say. If you don't have the right leaders in that room, and then from the management side and the coaches, if everyone's not adhering to what the team is saying, you're never going to make it. You're never going to win games. You can win a little bit on talent. That's obviously going to get you a good number of wins during the year. But if you want to win the whole thing, you got to have the right leaders in place because the younger guys have to see what it takes to win and do things the right way. You imbibe a culture in the room, and from that it kind of like spreads. And it spreads where someone says, that's the way I want to do things. If it's going to be that way to be successful, that's what we'll do. And you can see that here. You can see it with people like Curtis McKenzie. You can see it with Sam Addis. They do things the right way, and the outcomes are showing it on the ice.
Has there been a specific person that has stood out to you this year through it all?
I would say I'm thoroughly impressed with Sam Addis as a man, as a hockey player, he seems to have a cheerful disposition and at the same time incredibly skilled. And I remember watching him as a rookie in his rookie year and how far he has come to be the league leading scorer last year, and the way that he plays this game, all heart with incredible amount of skill too. I really like watching him. You never know what you're going to get. Every shift could be something incredible. So you keep your eye out when number 7's on the ice.
When number 7's on the ice, very unselfish player too.
Yeah.
I mean, all of his points so far this year have come off of assists, which
Right.
I think says a lot. But you know, a player on the ice, you've been a player yourself. You almost got a chance with the Charlotte Checkers. I know that you had in 2017, I believe, the opportunity to be the emergency backup goalie for the Checkers. You got a jersey on. I screenshot a lot of those photos online, I'll warn you, because I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. So who's better, Jason Shia, the broadcaster, or Jason Shia, the backup goalie?
Oh, it's not even close. Jason Shia, the broadcaster, is way better at his job than Jason Shia, the goalie.
I like to be up in the booth as far away from pucks flying at me as possible. So to step in goal, even on an emergency basis, I give you credit. But we're looking forward to hearing you tonight for the game. Jason Shia, the Director of Communications and the voice of the Utica Comets.
Thanks very much.
So it's almost time for puck drop against the Devils right here on WPNY. And on the other side of the break, we will send it completely over to Comets broadcaster Jason Shia for their pregame show and the broadcast. After the game, make sure to tune in to Eyewitness News first at 10 on WFXV, and then Eyewitness News at 11 on WUTR for your game recap and also tonight's highlights. So until then, enjoy the game, everybody. The Devils are in town. As always, stay friendly and stay tuned.